Team of Teams, New Rules of Engagement for a Complex World, a must-read for leaders. In today's fast-changing world, rigid traditional organizational structures often hinder success. General Stanley McChrystal's Team of Teams reveals how decentralization, transparency, and collaboration empower organizations to excel in complex environments. This book is not just a management masterpiece but a revolutionary perspective on adaptability and teamwork. Chapter 1: The Organizational Crisis in a Complex Era. The modern world's complexity is like a fog-covered battlefield, unpredictable and ever-shifting. In Team of Teams, Stanley McChrystal argues that traditional hierarchical organizations are often clumsy and ineffective in dynamic settings. Drawing from his Iraq War experience, he describes how U.S. Special Forces missed opportunities due to rigid command chains. In 2003, while pursuing al-Qaeda, intelligence required layers of approval, delaying action and allowing enemies to escape. This inefficiency caused mission failures and eroded team morale. This challenge isn't exclusive to the military. In 2010, Toyota faced a global recall due to brake system defects, rooted in a centralized decision-making system that failed to respond quickly to market feedback. Toyota's engineers identified the issue, but information had to pass through multiple management layers, delaying response and damaging the brand's reputation. McChrystal believes complex environments demand that organizations abandon an efficiency-first mindset and embrace adaptability. Quoting management guru Peter Drucker, he says, "Efficiency is doing things right. Effectiveness is doing the right things." Traditional organizations excel at efficiency but struggle with effectiveness. Complexity arises from globalization, rapid technological change, and unpredictable external shocks. McChrystal likens this to a complexity triangle of information overload, interdependence, and unpredictability. For example, global supply chains interdependence means a single disruption can trigger widespread effects. In 2021, a cargo ship blocked the Suez Canal, delaying global trade for weeks and highlighting this vulnerability. To survive, organizations must shift from command and control to empower and adapt. This requires leaders to rethink structure, culture, and decision-making. McChrystal emphasizes that in complex environments, the challenge is not just speed but adaptability. Traditional organizations rely on long-term plans that quickly become outdated in fast-changing settings. For instance, Nokia dominated the mobile phone market in the early 2000s but was overtaken by Apple and Samsung for failing to adapt to smartphones. Nokia's failure wasn't due to a lack of technology but an inflexible organization unable to pivot strategy quickly. Nokia's case reveals the fatal consequences of rigidity in complex environments. In 2007, Apple's iPhone disrupted the mobile industry's rules. Nokia had strong technical reserves and market share, but its hierarchical structure slowed decision-making. Its R&D team proposed a touchscreen phone, but senior leaders, wary of risks, delayed major investment. In contrast, Apple's flatter teams allowed engineers to collaborate directly with executives, accelerating innovation. Nokia's engineers complained that internal approvals took months, missing critical market windows. McChrystal writes that organizations in complex settings must act like living organisms, sensing changes and responding swiftly. Nokia's failure shows that technical advantages cannot compensate for a lack of adaptability. Similarly, in 2015, retail giant Target fell behind Amazon due to a slow e-commerce strategy. Target's centralized decision-making couldn't keep up with surging online shopping demand, leading to a significant loss of market share. McChrystal stresses the need for rapid feedback mechanisms, such as cross-departmental platforms, to collect market signals and align strategies with the environment. These examples warn that organizations in a complex era must have dynamic adaptability, or even resource advantages won't prevent obsolescence. McChrystal insists organizations must function like biological systems, with the ability to sense, react, and evolve. Chapter 2: From Chess to Gardening Mindset. McChrystal uses a vivid metaphor to contrast traditional and modern organizations. Hierarchies are like chess, with commanders as players controlling soldiers as pieces. Modern organizations, however, are like gardening, where leaders act as gardeners, creating environments for team members to grow freely. He writes, "Leaders are no longer those who give orders but those who shape ecosystems." This mindset shift requires leaders to move from controllers to enablers, focusing on providing resources, trust, and direction. Amazon, led by Jeff Bezos, embraces the two-pizza team principle, keeping teams small enough to be fed by two pizzas. This lean, autonomous structure keeps Amazon agile in fast-changing markets. In 2014, Amazon launched the Echo Smart Speaker with a team of just dozens, moving from concept to market in a year. In contrast, traditional large enterprises often require months or years for cross-departmental coordination. This inefficiency stems from departmental silo effects. McChrystal notes that traditional organizations suffer from information delays due to departmental barriers. For example, a global appliance company's smart refrigerator project failed because hardware and software teams worked in isolation, prioritizing cost over user experience, resulting in a lackluster product. Amazon's two-pizza teams, however, break silos by sharing goals. Team members hold regular sync meetings to align hardware, software, and marketing on a unified product vision. This mirrors JSOC's operations and intelligence O&I meetings. McChrystal adds that the gardening mindset requires leaders to foster root connections through culture and mechanisms to promote collaboration. In 2020, a European automaker used cross-functional teams for electric vehicle development, involving battery engineers and market teams in demand analysis, shortening development cycles. This approach empowers teams while ensuring alignment through shared information. McChrystal likens leaders to gardeners, pruning redundant processes and nurturing collaborative environments. For instance, a traditional automaker delayed a new energy vehicle project due to information silos, missing market opportunities. McChrystal's Iraq experience validates the gardening mindset's power. In 2004, he restructured the Joint Special Operations Command JSOC, breaking inter-service barriers with daily O&I meetings. These meetings enabled real-time information sharing among analysts, operators, and logistics, cutting decision times from days to hours. In one pursuit, analysts used real-time data to track enemy movements, allowing operators to adjust plans and intercept the target. The gardening mindset hinges on trust and empowerment. Leaders provide the soil and sunlight, while teams deliver results. This mindset also requires cultural shaping. McChrystal found JSOC's success relied not just on technology but on team members believing their contributions mattered. By regularly engaging soldiers and sharing strategic goals, he boosted their sense of purpose. Similarly, Google's 20-time policy allows employees to dedicate 20% of their time to passion projects, sparking innovations like Gmail and Google News. The gardening mindset shifts organizations from mechanistic operations to organic growth, laying the foundation for complex environments. Chapter 3: The Power of Transparency. Transparency is a core pillar of Team of Teams. McChrystal argues that the free flow of information is key to adapting in complex environments. He shares a striking story from 2006. A JSOC analyst uncovered a clue to Al-Qaeda leader Zarqawi's hideout. In the past, this intelligence would have taken days to reach operators through layers of approval. Under the new transparent system, the analyst shared it directly with the action team, leading to Zarqawi's elimination within hours. This case shows how transparency transforms information into action. Transparency is equally critical in business. In 2013, Google's Project Aristotle found that high-performing teams thrive on psychological safety and information sharing. Google's open data platforms allow employees to access project updates and test results, accelerating innovation. For example, during Google Maps development, engineers accessed user feedback directly, rapidly optimizing navigation algorithms. This transparent culture keeps Google ahead in the competitive tech industry. However, transparency poses challenges such as information overload or security risks. McChrystal advocates bounded transparency, ensuring information flows to those who need it without blanket disclosure. JSOC's O&I meetings shared critical data selectively based on mission needs. Similarly, consulting firm McKinsey uses tiered access in its knowledge management system, balancing security and data availability. McKinsey's approach demonstrates the strategic use of transparency. McChrystal stresses that transparency must align with organizational goals, not be indiscriminate. For instance, McKinsey's system allows consultants to access case studies by project needs but restricts sensitive client data. In 2021, logistics giant DHL built an internal data platform allowing regional managers to view real-time transport data, while strategic data remained executive only. This enabled DHL to reduce delivery delays by 30% during the pandemic. McChrystal emphasizes that transparency hinges on information fit, directing data to the right people without flooding the system. Jacques O&I meetings shared key intelligence while limiting tactical details to action teams. In business, transparency requires cultural backing. One tech company faced resistance to transparency due to leak fears, but leadership's open Q&A sessions clarified its benefits, winning employee support. McChrystal notes that transparency requires leaders to model openness and use technology to ensure efficient, secure information flow. Jacques relied on video conferencing and real-time data platforms, while businesses use tools like Slack or Microsoft Teams. In 2020, a global retailer used Slack to create a virtual war room, enabling supply chain, marketing, and store teams to share real-time sales and inventory data, minimizing pandemic losses. Transparency is both a technical and cultural challenge, requiring leaders to lead by example and foster open communication. Chapter 4: The Art of Decentralized Decision-Making. Traditional organizations rely on top-down decision-making, but in complex environments, this model often fails. McChrystal proposes decentralized decision-making, empowering those closest to the problem. He writes, "On the battlefield, conditions change rapidly, and frontline soldiers often know more than headquarters." This challenges the notion that superiors always know best. Spotify's tribe and squad model exemplifies decentralization. Divided into small, autonomous tribes, Spotify teams independently drive product development. In 2017, a team of under 20 launched the Discover Weekly playlist feature, iterating quickly without executive approvals. In contrast, a traditional media company's streaming platform took 2 years due to layered approvals, losing the market to competitors. McChrystal's Jacques adopted a similar strategy, delegating decisions to squad leaders, sometimes allowing action without prior approval. In a 2005 night raid, a squad adjusted plans based on real-time intelligence, capturing a key target. This flexibility stemmed from trust in the team's expertise and judgment. McChrystal emphasizes that decentralization isn't chaos but requires a clear commander's intent, setting goals without dictating execution. This ensures autonomy while aligning with strategy. The challenge is balancing autonomy and coordination. Jacques' commander's intent kept squads aligned, with O&I meetings ensuring coordination. In a multi-squad operation, real-time intelligence sharing prevented resource conflicts. Similarly, in 2022, Zara empowered regional teams to adjust inventory during a supply chain crisis but required daily data reports to headquarters, maintaining global alignment. This allowed Zara to sustain new product launches despite material shortages. McChrystal emphasizes that decentralization relies on a pivot of trust, with leaders trusting teams' capabilities and mechanisms ensuring coordination. A Chinese electronics firm split design, testing, and production into autonomous groups, aligned via weekly strategy syncs, cutting product launch time by 25%. Decentralization's success also hinges on training. Jacques cross-trained squad leaders for a holistic perspective. Similarly, Zara trains regional managers on global supply chain dynamics, grounding their autonomous decisions. Jacques' O&I meetings ensured squad actions aligned with broader goals. In a complex operation, O&I meetings clarified plans, avoiding conflicts. In 2022, a multinational manufacturer accelerated product development by authorizing R&D teams to test prototypes independently, with weekly syncs ensuring market fit. Decentralization makes organizations like neural networks flexible yet coordinated. Chapter 5: Building Shared Consciousness. Shared consciousness is another core concept, ensuring all members understand the organization's goals, status, and challenges. McChrystal describes how Jacques' daily O&I meetings fostered this. These meetings shared intelligence and clarified roles, helping logistics staff see their impact on frontline operations. This shifted members from executors to decision-makers. In business, shared consciousness is critical. In 2018, Walmart faced Amazon's competition with an inefficient supply chain. Its real-time inventory system shared data across stores, logistics, and suppliers, boosting inventory turnover by 15% and cutting stockouts. During Black Friday, a store manager used the system to spot low inventory and coordinate with suppliers, avoiding sales losses. Shared consciousness requires technical and cultural support. Jacques used video conferencing and real-time data, while McChrystal broke silos with cross-departmental training. He paired analysts with operators to align their work. In 2021, a global pharma company built a platform for scientists, trial teams, and regulators to share data, speeding up COVID-19 vaccine development. Building shared consciousness takes time. Jacques initially faced trust issues, overcome through persistent communication. McChrystal joined O&I meetings, discussing tactics with soldiers to model openness. Apple's Apple Watch development used cross-functional teams, aligning hardware, software, and design on shared goals. This ensured a sleek, functional product through daily syncs. McChrystal notes that shared consciousness enables global perspective, local action. Jacques' O&I meetings unified diverse roles. In 2023, a medical device company's platform let engineers, doctors, and marketers define product needs, shortening R&D cycles. Shared consciousness requires ongoing maintenance. Jacques rotated staff across roles to deepen understanding. Apple's internal mentorship program fosters cross-departmental learning, reinforcing collaborative culture. This keeps Apple aligned in complex technical challenges. Chapter 6: The Foundation of Trust. Trust is the bedrock of an empowered organization. Without it, transparency and decentralization fail. McChrystal shares a 2007 incident where a Jacques team accidentally harmed civilians. The commander openly admitted the error and adjusted protocols, restoring community trust and team cohesion. In business, trust is equally vital. In 2016, Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella fostered a growth mindset, encouraging failure sharing. When Azure's cloud service faced an outage, the team transparently fixed it, boosting client trust and innovation. Azure's public post-mortem attracted more enterprise clients. Trust requires consistent action. McChrystal joined O&I meetings, discussing with soldiers to build equality and respect. In 2020, a Chinese tech firm's executives worked with factory staff during a supply chain crisis, co-creating solutions and restoring 70% capacity into weeks. McChrystal emphasizes that trust demands empathy and action. Jacques commanders joined high-risk missions, earning respect. In 2021, a global beverage company's executives openly negotiated with suppliers during price fluctuations, boosting team commitment. The company's employee feedback platform empowered staff, enhancing ownership. Trust acts as the glue in complex environments, ensuring resilience. Jacques' clear reward-punishment system reinforced fairness. Consulting firm Accenture's transparent performance reviews clarify contributions, building trust. McChrystal quotes a proverb, "Trust is built slowly but lost instantly." Leaders must consistently act to strengthen it. Chapter 7: The Continuously Evolving Organization. Team of Teams concludes that empowered organizations must evolve constantly. McChrystal stresses that complex environments demand biological adaptability. Netflix's shift from DVD rentals to streaming in 2007 reflects its flexible culture. Its freedom and responsibility principle enabled rapid experimentation, leading to successes like House of Cards in 2013. Jacques' success in Iraq wasn't final. It adapted to new threats, adding data analysts for cyber warfare. In 2010, Jacques used social media analytics to thwart an attack. McChrystal writes, "Adaptability is not a state but a capability. Continuous evolution requires a learning culture." Toyota's Kaizen philosophy drives constant improvement, optimizing its EV battery systems in 2022. A Chinese e-commerce firm used daily data reviews during the pandemic to enhance logistics. Openness to external learning is key. Jacques adopted private sector data analytics, improving intelligence. In 2023, a logistics firm partnered with a tech startup, using AI to cut delivery costs by 20%. Cross-boundary learning keeps organizations agile. Epilogue. Team of Teams is more than a management book, it's a philosophical guide to organizational survival. McChrystal's battlefield lessons reveal how transparency, decentralization, shared consciousness, and trust ensure success. These principles apply to militaries, businesses, governments, and teams. In an uncertain world, empowered organizations stand like resilient trees, deeply rooted and thriving. No matter the challenge, they adapt flexibly, crafting their own legendary futures.